Welcome to a new episode of The Truth is Barrel Proof. I'm Jack Bigadoo, also known as the Hood Sommelier, and today I want to talk about collaborations. What happens when three unconventional or craft distillery associate together with an influencer to create a whiskey? We get borrowed page. So one of the most interesting thing about the American Mash and Grain brand with their bottled borrowed page is what they're trying to do. They're trying to prove that distilleries can come together in the name of creativity and in the name of doing something good. And in the first board page, there was about five distillery, I believe, that were involved into bringing their juice together to create one thing, right? Because craft distilleries never get the exposure they need, and this is a fact. So when there is an opportunity for craft distilleries to show what they can under one umbrella, I always get excited. But really, this one prove this edition or this release prove two things. One, any distillery in America can work together. Two, whiskey influencers or educators do matter in the industry, right? Because when you're an influencer, no one gives you credit. No one cares what you think because, oh, he just got bottles and, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And regardless of your certification. So I'd like to take a moment and give a shout out to that one dude, Ryan, who came on the scene a few years back as a whiskey educator. Check out his Instagram and his TikTok. He's bigger on TikTok than Instagram, where he create whiskey content. He makes it fun. He's not like me. I'm a little stiff. I know that because I take this a little bit seriously. I'm an immigrant, so I have no puns. I don't even know how to make proper jokes, so I just go straight to the point. But Ryan makes good content, and he knows what he's talking about when 97% of the time. I can give him 100% because sometimes I do disagree with him when it comes to some things he say. But this whiskey here shows that anything is possible when people come together. The interesting thing is the distilleries that went into creating this whiskey. Talnua Distillery out of Colorado. They are creating a version of Irish whiskey because they use the pastille Irish whiskey style that they do. Virginia Distillery, what I call my first ever American whiskey love, right? American single malt love because American single malt is kind of new and coming on the market. So I don't really, really, really think people are doing it well. But Virginia Distillery got that on lockdown. If there's ever any single malt, if you're a Scotch lover and you want to try an American single malt that falls in the same repertoire as as a Scotch, but is made in America, Virginia Distillery is your choice. And Mammoth Distillery, actually, I believe, is bringing a new vision to rye because then, most rye are coming out of Canada, but they're like, nope, we got Minnesota rye, we got Michigan rye. They're trying to do everything American, but still holding on to tradition. So, Talnua Distillery, Virginia Distillery, Mammoth Distillery. You bring them all together and you add the palette of that one dude Ryan, and you have Borough Page Volume 2. I will tell you right now, I've had this bottle for a while, and as I'm recording, I'm like, okay, I will hold this to really, try this in the right moment, and I feel like today is right. Borough Page, I've had it open for a while. I pour a little bit of it. And if you're here, I'm using the American whiskey glass. You probably heard it in my commercial, but this is the American whiskey glass, whiskey wisdom glass. The link is in the comment for you to get your glass. I would say the nose is confusing. The nose remind me of a Highland sherry cask single malt scotch. That's really what it reminded me of. Yeah, it reminded me of a scotch. The color, beautiful, light, I mean, dark in gold actually, almost close to copper. The proof on this whiskey is 55, so 110 proof, 55% ABV, 110 proof. All right, enough talk. Let's try. Hmm, it's interesting. Let me cleanse my palate again. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. As I put a little bit of water in my mouth, there's a lot going on. From the malted barley, the, the sweetness of the malted barley, the cask influence, to the finish. This really fall under single malt. It really doesn't fall under, bourbon or rye. It does fall under single malt, but it's a whiskey because there's a blend of multiple things. When people say whiskey, all they're just saying is that you can't really categorize it. All right, let's try it one more time. It is not too sweet. It is not too sweet. What is confusing is the mid palate because I don't know if it's a sherry cask. I don't know if it's an American oak, but I'm almost curious to the point where I want to read about it to just see which cask was used. So, from what I see here, Virginia Distillery used a cuvee cask, 27% cuvee cask, and 11% sherry cask. Mammoth Distillery used just their rye and the single pot still from Talnua Distillery. Honestly, I love the nose. Like I say, remind me of those single malt where you get some plum, you get a little bit of sweetness, some citrus note, but the taste profile is confusing. It really is. I guess I like my whiskey straight to the point. That's what I'm trying to say. I like my whiskey straight to the point and know exactly what's happening here. But right now, there's a lot going on in this whiskey. And I'm trying to figure it out. But I'm gonna give you my unbiased opinion. Right, one more sip for my unbiased opinion. It is sweet on the front palate, mid palate, the cask effect. I get those sherry notes, a little bit of that kind of that stone fruit, not really sweetness that you would get from a single malt. The finish is awkward. It's a little spicy, but it gives you a nice little hug here, but nothing more than that. A lot of those sherry cask note are influencing the whiskey. Um, a little bit of that licorice note at the end. So At the Truth is Barrel Proof, we have two rules, right? How does the whiskey make me feel, and how will I pair this? How does the whiskey make me feel? Question one is I'm confused. Am I having a single malt? Am I having an Irish whiskey? Am I having a rye? I don't know. But what I will do is I'm meeting somebody for the first time, and you guys don't really mesh together. Um, what I always say is I'll give you another try. So I will let it sit. I'll revisit it again. I've been tasting a few whiskeys, so I will revisit it again. What will I pair this with? Honestly, I will pair this whiskey with uh with something sweet. I would do chocolate. I would do something desserty with this whiskey, some chocolate, or if I really want to be edgy, I would do some seafood, some crab, um, some a good fish is what I will pair this with. Let me know if you've tried the Board Page Volume 2 of the American Mash and Grain, and what are your thoughts? Let me know if I'm crazy, or if really there is a certain level where you're like, oh, maybe I need to revisit it. So for me, I need to revisit, I need to add some water, and I need to see by breaking it down, what do I get to? Till next time, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you supporting. And if you have any question, please put in a comment, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.